Uh,
There.
Wait,
There
oh,
we
you
go.
started already? Oh,
Yeah.
nuts. I was going to say something.
Well, say it anyway.
No, you don't. My, okay. You asked for it, Larry. My string of rejections is way longer than it was the last time I
Oh,
with
oh
my new
no.
images from Larry Berman. You
No.
asked me, I wasn't going to say it in public. Maybe because you can actually see the pieces now, so that they go, oh, those are horrible.
Or maybe I did the pieces for your competitors also.
I don't know. Hi, Bonnie.
You're muted, Bonnie.
No,
Yes, she is.
Bonnie's muted.
Yeah, I said that.
I'm muted. I have new headphones, and for some reason now my computer is giving me sound, which it has never done before. And the headphones aren't giving anything. It hasn't been a good computer day.
So, Oscar, you did a show this past weekend?
Yes, I won the Barry. Barry said that he had such a great show, dying to go back.
Wait, you're on you're reverbing.
That's because
because
Barry and Oscar are sitting in the same place.
Oh, okay.
Across from each other.
So how was the show then?
For who?
Well, for either of you.
Well, Barry wrote a great review on Facebook.
Oh yes, that's right. That's right.
You know what? I didn't think that was a review. It was just a like comment.
Well, that's what a review is.
What I couldn't figure out is why the window next to Barry's head, it looks like it's from a trailer. So that
Oscar's
makes
trailer.
more sense.
It is a trailer.
Yeah. Right, but I didn't know you were sitting at Oscar's.
And Oscar, you were happy with the show too, it seems like.
Yeah, I was really happy. I couldn't complain.
Yay.
You said it was sound.
Hindi kasi ang mga making boga.
Yeah, I did all right. It was really strange. I didn't sell anything on the first day till 3:30, and I thought I was going to be a zero show. And then I had 45 minutes of nonstop sales. The next day, it was until 4:00. Didn't sell anything again till 3:30, and in the last half hour, I did a bunch of business, so it ended up being a decent show. And you know what, Oscar? I'm not even counting the order. I got an order.
No.
Special order that I have to make. So I didn't count that yet.
Well, it's hard to keep one's spirits up, but it happens. I mean, that happens to me. Like sometimes I won't make my first sale until Sunday.
Just sit down. See if that helps.
You just said that.
Yeah. See if that helps.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
No.
I can hear you, Bunny.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. No headphones. Woohoo. I have no freaking clue where the sound is coming from.
Uh-oh.
What's really great is
Did you get an implant?
outside?
Wait a minute, check my, no,
Right.
Lord.
Oscar, you were sent out. You were
I have,
sent outside.
Oscar's hotspot, and it says it's
Oh,
unstable.
It looks nice out.
It is.
I know.
That's what it looks like in Michigan, believe it or not.
Well,
You
it
know,
doesn't.
I've had to pay my electric bill today, so I called. It's like 50 degrees in Marquette today.
Yep,
There's no snow on the ground.
nope.
Well, it's overcast here, and it's sunny like 300 days of the year. So it's always really weird when it's overcast. Makes it feel like winter.
It is winter.
Yeah, but here
Oh,
it fluctuates a lot.
Yeah. Well, it's now fluctuating a lot in Michigan,
Hmm.
You know, we
considering
looked
that
out.
it was well below zero in January, and now it's 50 some degrees.
Right. Wow. It's probably
weird.
not good for like the things that need to, I don't know,
Oh, yeah.
get,
There would be
Exactly.
there's gonna be
Plants.
fires this summer in the woods. It'll
Mhm.
be dry. You know, the
So,
ground.
Bonnie, I got a
Yeah.
question specifically for you.
Oh, yes.
So there was a group of artists in Fort Myers. We were in front of the hotel, and they was complaining they was not getting the same amount of traffic because the barricades and it was kind of blocking the flow. We probably get maybe 25 to 40% what the traffic was.
On paper, it looked
And
great.
then the section, yeah, but it was not.
I know.
It was
saw the pictures.
it was like a going like a tunnel, and people were not stopping, and the other
Yep.
booths after me. And they decided to some artists wanted a refund, and it's the first time I had to tell people that's a really bad idea. If you're going to say something about it, just say that the booth should be there because it's not a good spot for artists, and the hotel doesn't want any of us in there anyhow.
Okay,
So
I'm hearing a
how
lot of
you is the
background
best way
noise.
to handle that?
right. It's hard to hear.
Yeah.
Are you hearing me from Barry?
Yes.
Because I even outside.
I'm not saying anything.
Okay, Oscar, can you do that last part again? Say that last part again.
What if the two of you just use one computer?
Oh, God, then I need to sit next to him.
I know.
No way.
Well, or just use one microphone.
But we can't hear.
So
What-
mute yourself, Barry.
What if I close the door?
Try that.
Close the door, see what happens. If I have to, I'll come outside. All right. It's funny because I can still hear him a little.
Can you hear
All
me?
right,
No, but it's
That's
clearer
better?
now. It's better.
Okay. So the question is, how you will handle that situation approaching the director?
Interesting. I think
Okay.
individual letters would be better.
Mhm.
I know the
Because I
answer to
think
this.
it would make more of an impact.
Will the show be sending out a survey?
I don't know. I doubt it.
I know the answer to this question. And the answer is the hotel dominates. It's what they want. Worse than the
Yeah.
barricades are the cars that come down that are leaving the hotel that drive through the show.
That
That's
sounds
so
the
kind of
barricades.
insane.
And I think that should be mentioned in the letter.
Well,
The-
there are I mean, people have studied the flow of like malls are built so people won't get back into their car because then they'll leave. Like in other words,
Yeah,
you
so
could
casinos.
yes. So you can only see when you look down a ways. It's only as far as you could see, and then there's turns and things, so it keeps you in the building. And so if it sounds like there's a barricade and people have to go around it, and people will get in their car and leave for any reason, and it sounded like a very inconvenient situation, and it's not unreasonable. people make mistakes. Maybe they didn't know
No.
the situation, but
Look at-
remedying it would be the
Listen.
solution. So
Last
They
year
were
was the
big
first year that it
orange.
was like this. And I was, you know, I was outraged last year when I saw that. I oh my God, how could they do this? This year I knew that it was going to be like that, so I didn't, you know, I didn't say anything. Plus I wasn't near it. I was in the section where there was no barricades, but it's horrible because you have two sets of booths, one facing one way, one facing the other way, and there's a row, there's two barricades, and the cars are going to come down the in the middle between the two. If you're on one side and you happen to be looking across at a booth across, you have to go all the way down and then come all the way back, you know.
Yeah, there's a solution. Move the driving area against the curb and have the booths on the other side of it.
No, they cannot do that.
Well, they
Basically,
could.
the solution that they have is
Oh.
that section should not be there. There should not be
Well.
no booths in there.
I agree.
Okay, wait a minute. You're leaving one part out that's actually the determining factor. It's the fire marshal has made it this way. You
Yeah,
know,
but
Well,
the
but if
solution
you
is to,
take, if
in
you
my
take
opinion-
that section out, then the fire marshal will be even happier.
yeah, they just need to
uh,
put. They can put those 10 booths someplace else, squeeze it in someplace else. There was no reason for any of us to be there. I got really lucky. I did really, really well. But I know that most of the body after me, it was struggling.
okay,
So,
okay, listen. Oscar was the first booth by the barricade, but if you know, so his space wasn't that bad. But if you were halfway down, you know, you were really in trouble, I thought. It's almost like the show's cut in half because it's one long pathway and it's almost like two shows. And when they were building the hotel, there was nothing in between. So really there was part of the show was on one end and part of the and then there was nothing, and then the part of the show was on the other end. All they did was put up the barricade and fill in those spots, which is now a sidewalk with booths. The thing is, it's kind of a nice location for the show. So because the logical thing would be to move the show away from that whole thing, but I'm telling you, they're not going to do it.
Hey, I know what you can do.
Not do the show.
Send them a link to this video on YouTube.
No way. I'm in trouble enough. I don't, you know.
Oscar,
I talk.
do you have a map of the show?
you know, the
I
map,
do.
the map honestly doesn't show the problem.
Yeah.
If you
Oh,
see the map,
I know,
doesn't show the problem.
No, it
It-
looks
it
like
just-
it's a great location there.
You know, it looks, when you do, if you ever done Uptown Art Fair, you know the little mountain that was those three that was facing the mall, like when they used to have the traffic going in between. That's
Yep.
basically that's basically what was in that section. But the difference is that then in Uptown you got almost 3 lanes for cars to pass, and this show basically you had 2 feet and you in the traffic lane.
Hey,
Like,
Bonnie,
there
have
was
you ever
no
done
space
this?
to storage anything.
Have you ever done this show,
Have
Bonnie?
No, but I was there as a roadie a few
How long
years
ago?
back.
Yeah.
No barricades,
You know,
no hotel.
No, because I've done it 12 times. So I've seen it through its all its iterations. They keep building buildings in that area, and the shows had to work around it. It isn't the other way around.
and you know the sad thing, there was an artist that asked, according to her, she said that she asked not to be in that spot, and they put her again in that
That's
spot.
right.
And she left on Saturday night. She was beyond pissed. But I was telling to the guys, writing this is not going to do anything. And you have to be really careful because you have to put solutions to the problem. You cannot just say that we should not
Right.
be there and act almighty and ask for a refund when a refund that could, the situation you have sales wise could have happened in any spot in the show. So because that's what they're going to say. There's no guarantee. I could have give you another spot and you still will have poor sales. So I really don't know how to. And one of the girls was like in her 30s. So I was going like, you have to be careful because you don't want to be labeled like a troublemaker. and and the directors do talk to each other. And if you start complaining too much with no giving solutions, they're going to flag you.
See, I hate that. That's like forcing censorship.
Hey, Barry still
don't
gets
say
in.
anything.
He's a
You're gonna get
troublemaker.
blackballed. And I got rejected from everything this year, except Bonnie. In fact, oh no, I'm actually going back to doing these Michigan shows that I've been avoiding for 10 years, including Birmingham. I signed up for Birmingham. Can you believe that? That's how pathetic. Well, no, actually, that was a good one.
Well,
I
yeah.
might do Muskegon. Oh my God, and Midland just to have something to do.
Oh,
Bonnie, I told her that what he needs to do is need to retire. And all the parts that he has done already, I would take them out of his hand and everything else can go to the garbage can.
Well, that would be one solution,
Oh,
but I'm not allowed to
Barry?
die till the Lions win the Super Bowl.
the Grand Haven show,
Grand Haven,
the one
Yeah.
that's in downtown Grand Haven,
yeah,
there have been some spectacular sales coming out of that show
really?
recently.
Oh, recently.
Yep, I went to see it a couple of times because I've heard, well, last year. But I went to see it a couple of times because I kept all of a sudden hearing such good things about it. And
Really?
it's a nice show. Is it a top end? No, it's not. But there's top end work. I don't know. I was very impressed. And then when I heard how well people were doing, it was like, okay,
Seriously, that's a good tip. If I do well,
I would do that before I do Muskegon.
well, the reason to do Muskegon is my friend that we went to school together, Louise Hobson, has a gallery, Fat Cats Gallery. And I always,
Cats.
we talk
Yeah.
about me bringing work there, but I never get around to doing that. So, that would be I would do the show and then, then she'd have my work in her
Well,
gallery.
It's not far from Grand Haven to Muskegon.
So you know Louise, right?
Yes.
Great person.
Yep.
We go way back. We have
How far?
stories. Let's see, 1980, 1979, 78. That's how far back we go.
Hey, 45 years
76.
ago.
What else? I'm trying to think of what I would do. I'd go for Birmingham.
Yeah, but I've done it a lot, and it could be good, it could be bad, it could be the weather could be crummy. I mean, I think that's the only show where I packed up Saturday night because the weather was going to be so bad on Sunday. I just left. So it's it could be the weather could be good. There could be people there. There could be nobody there.
Yeah.
But that's any
Coin flip.
How about Sutton's Bay?
Oh, I did $125 the last time I did it.
How long ago?
5 years ago. I don't know. I have a gallery there that I sell to. I'd rather just sell to in fact, maybe this year I'll go to the gallery and hang out in, in front. In fact, and you know what? In my joking manner, I was thinking, I would show up there, and maybe just go to the party because they have a really good dinner. So I pretend that I was in the show.
I used
I
to
don't
do,
think
I
they
used to
have
do
a
that
really
at
good
State
dinner.
College.
What's that, Bonnie?
I think they have a big dinner anymore.
Oh, really? Oh, well, that's normal. Let's cut all the amenities, but not and charge more. Let's charge more for booth fee and cut out everything.
Had they moved up to the street?
Lots of things.
Barry, had they moved up to the street when you did it?
No, it was in that park.
Big difference.
Really? In positive, you're talking about?
Very positive. And I saw the show this year or last year, 23. I went up and saw it.
Yeah.
Walked it.
Who'd you hang out with? The regulars?
Did.
No,
But no.
you know what I mean.
We had breakfast with Steve Costigan.
That's what I'm talking about.
And I stopped and talked to Paul and Lisa Berry, and just
Yeah.
I knew 3/4 of the show, so it was fun.
Yeah. Wait a minute. You were there the last time I was there because I got a picture with the art girls.
Oh,
That's how long ago it was. And you were there. I snuck into the picture, one of the pictures.
that was a long time ago.
I was honorary art girl.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was fun. I just didn't sell anything.
No, that's another one I would.
Well, I got that gallery. I'm in that gallery right in the corner that has the
Painted bird or something.
yeah, that has all that yard art in the front.
Yeah, wild looking place.
Yeah.
Good deal.
So
we can
we'll
change
see.
the subject.
I don't want to step on their toes, but I
Well,
can go.
ask them.
I know I can go there and I can hang out in front, as the artist, I'd have to give them a cut, but we'll see.
Ask them if they want to do a trunk show with you during the art fair.
I know they actually did, but I didn't go
like
last year.
Squire space at Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
Hey, I got
Or
another
do
question.
the show and advertise
The gallery.
the gallery.
Although it's right there,
Yeah,
So-
and
when it's on the street,
see if
it's that street right in front of the gallery.
right.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's behind the gallery. The show?
Oh, behind the gallery. Oh, okay. I know where that is.
It backs right up to the Marina Park. The park, which is now tiny because the lake level went up. So
That's interesting because I would like that because it used to be in the park and you'd have to dolly down, set up, and then you have to dolly up, when you left. So if to eliminate that, that's great to just be on the sidewalk or the street.
well, you're on the street and the sidewalk up above, and then the paved path that goes down into the park.
Yeah.
There are booths on both sides of that. And there are Boy Scouts to help you load and unload.
Yes.
But I will tell you that after seeing it last year, it's kind of confusing up in the street, but on that path, I would highly recommend that's where you ask for your booth, because that seems to be where most of the business.
Well, I'm probably gonna bring her work in May, April and May, and I'll work something out with them.
Good.
Hi, Court.
Hello,
Hi, Court.
I can
Hey,
hear
Court.
now.
Poor soul. I got a
my
question.
hearing aid batteries were dead and I had to go get some new ones and put them in.
Oh, jeez.
Oscar's trying to get a word in edgewise.
Oh, you don't want to listen to Oscar.
Oh, come on. You just remember that the alligators are right next to you.
That's okay. I take it back.
Uh, from last week, do you think that people going to raise the booth fees and if the cost of putting the shop keeps going up? Do you think we're going to see in $750, $1,000 booth fees in the next year?
Ann
Yes.
Arbor's 900.
No,
Coconut
no.
Grove's 900.
Cherry Creek is what is it now? That you also pay the credit card fee, so it was like was it 930 or something like that. Park City, I don't know what the booth fee is. Last year it was 850.
Yeah, but
Ugh.
I'm saying, like, do you think a normal show is going to be 750, 900, and then Park City, Cherry Creek is going to jump to 1,500?
I hope not.
I think they're going to have
Yes.
to. They're going to have to at some point, but is that going to happen in 2 years or 10 years? I don't think you can tell.
And one of the things, and I think Cord, it was in that the NAIA Zoom, was that the booth fees we pay actually don't cover the cost of the show at all. So they're still subsidized. And
Yeah,
that's what I got from it. You know,
Yeah.
we're paying more, but they're still subsidized.
it's
So
10% of the total expenses of the show, which
I'm one of them.
you know,
It depends upon the show, Barry, and that varies
Very.
greatly.
right.
that's right. Some shows don't get sponsors, so they rely on that. But it's a lot. But it's a lot less money if you're using booth fees.
You know,
There's a lot.
the higher the booth fee, the more the buy-sell people will be able to afford more than the artists.
Ah. Interestingly, St. Louis, I was just doing my numbers. The booth fee at St. Louis is $685, which I think is very reasonable. Or it was last year anyway. And I had to look back at that because that seems, very fair, given
Maybe.
Even
Plaza's
that
always
show.
been really cheap too to me.
What is?
Plaza.
Oh,
That's always had, I mean, of the shows of that size and
Yeah.
class, it's always had the cheapest booth fee. And I don't remember
Well-
what it was last year, but it wasn't, I think it might have been under $500.
yes.
Wow.
Well, it should be that they go out and get sponsors to pay to underwrite the show.
Right, and
But
make
it's
the
almost
bands
like-
pay.
It's the hardest thing for them to do. It's cold calls. Go with your hand out, and they don't want to do it. They'd rather take artist money.
Well,
Yeah, but-
no,
Live
I
on
think they
the
are
map
doing
out.
it.
But
I think they are doing it. But
yeah,
so,
the
but the
plaza. I mean, part of the plaza is they can, since they basically own the shopping center, they have a little more leverage with some of their local, with some of the stores in their area because they're landlord.
Well, I was on a board meeting call earlier today with the Michigan Guild, and they absolutely amaze me how much sponsorship money they can raise. Now, they are a nonprofit, but I'm just blown away. And they
Yeah.
seem
Well,
to have no
a lot of these
problem
shows
doing
are
it.
nonprofit. Also,
Look-
like
Right.
Look at St. Louis. There was at the awards thing or a dinner or whatever it was. I think when
Breakfast.
Cindy ran it, the last year Cindy ran it, she was talking about they actually turned away sponsors because they had so many sponsors that wanted to contribute. And that's part of the key. If you can get it's one thing to like go out and have to beg sponsors versus sponsors that want to put up the money. So, there's that aspect of it. Hopefully in Ann Arbor, they would want to, it would be easier to get sponsorship money because booth fees the show could be $1.5 million to do because of the security and all this stuff. You have to, it adds up, and advertising isn't cheap. If you can't just advertise once in a small ad in a newspaper. So it starts adding up, and so you need that sponsorship money to have a decent show.
Well,
And
and then in indoor shows like American Craft Council and I don't know if they have sponsors or a lot of those are nonprofits, Smithsonian, Philadelphia. The booth
yeah,
fees are very expensive, and
that's
maybe
because it's indoors and there's union. You're paying union. Any of those indoor shows, you're paying union fees for the workers. And in fact, I think one year, especially like Baltimore, I think you couldn't even plug your own lights in. You had to have the union
Oh.
guy plug the lights in.
Well,
Yeah.
I didn't experience that in Baltimore, but like I did Craft Boston, and you were not allowed to. There was a loading area, but like through the
Yeah,
front of the building, you
right,
weren't allowed to carry things in.
right.
So Eric and I would take our suitcases, and it looked like luggage, and we'd just kind of roll in. But
Yeah,
that booth fee was not bad. It was $800. It included pipe and drape, and as an indoor show, I thought it was pretty reasonable. Whatever they negotiated, it doesn't exist. The show doesn't exist since COVID, but yeah, a lot of the indoor shows. I mean, I don't remember. I think ACC. I mean, it could be like $1,800, something like that. And
yeah. It is. It's $1,800, 16 or 1,800. The problem with that is there's less buyers than there were, 25 years ago.
well, that's what I was going to
Huge
say.
difference.
It would be okay if you could make that back, but yeah,
Wholesale. It used to be wholesale and retail. The wholesale is pretty much gone.
right.
Half my business
Yeah,
used
they
to be
don't do
selling
it
to
anymore.
galleries. It was
Uh-huh.
great. They'd all come and you'd write orders. You could control how much business you wanted to do during the year because you could fill up one month and do the next month. That whole market, unfortunately, is gone.
Right.
Well, it still
There's
exists, but it's not nearly
no,
it's
no.
not sustainable.
There was a potter where my studio was, and yeah, he would do most of the business for the year at that show.
Yeah.
And so but yeah, a lot of galleries have closed, and it's a very different world today. But there was a potter who Eric's family knew, and I think he might still be alive. But anyway, he said in Western Mass that like galleries would come with trailers, and they'd come see all the potters, and they'd just give them a check, and that's how they sold their work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In like the 70s.
Yeah, I think that's all gone. In the 90s, the glass guys at the ACC show, Baltimore, would do $100,000 in orders around
Wow.
that. I mean, there's some of us still exist. I can't remember names, but I mean, people that are still. There's a few people still doing shows that were there. That interesting. Rick Faulkner, who runs Longs Park, he had candles, the candle maker during those days.
He still is.
He said he was on that NAIA thing, Zoom, and I had never met him before, but he still, I guess,
Not a lot, just a
making
little.
candles.
A really nice guy.
Want some chips?
Okay, well, you guys were talking. I just did a little research.
Yeah.
Plaza in Brookside, $550 booth fees.
That's
Plaza
reasonable.
last year and Brookside this year.
Unfortunately, Brookside never wants me.
Well, St. Louis,
including this year.
St. Louis is $685 this year. Cherry Creek is $900 this year. Small show I do in Oklahoma City, $400. So that
and then the other thing is, regarding the booth fee, what's your potential? I mean, it could be a great show and you could still not do well. We all know this. But yeah, I mean, what's the potential of actually, so Park City is $850, by the way. And I think it's surprising for that show, although I happen to have done very well there. So, last year, everyone said it was slow, but for me, I made a lucky sale, and that's what I depend on. But it's anyway. The booth fees, clearly are subsidized,
Mhm.
but I think they're going to have to go up just because everything is.
That's due tomorrow, isn't it?
What?
This week. I looked on the map. I have them all started on Zap, and I
Right.
looked. It's 1,580 miles or something like that to Park City.
Which? Oh, yeah. For me, it's a 10-hour drive. So
10 hours would be great.
yeah, and it's a gorgeous drive. But yeah, I'm hoping to do Park City and Sun Valley. Sun Valley is only, I want to say, 4.5 hours from Park City, so it's a nice double bill. But from your distance, that's a whole different thing.
He just don't want to drive, Allison.
I don't.
Well, it's a long drive.
This is long
It's
enough
not.
coming here.
Listen,
it's
if
not
I
a
could
little-
rent it, what?
It's a jump for him. He can just do that in one day. He just don't want to do it.
If I could rent a tent in Chicago, I think I would fly, because it's an 18-hour drive.
It's
But
not, man.
But the tent rental, and then that's a lot of time out of the studio too, especially because that's kind of the beginning of my show season.
Yeah.
But
Listen.
it turns into a pain in the neck. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
going to fly to Brookside because Eric can't go, and it's only a 12-hour drive, but then he'd have to rent a car, and there's a direct flight, and it's actually the gas that it would take round trip is very similar to a plane ticket. So
Yeah. Here's something that I wish shows would actually do. I don't even know if they do it. Maybe they do it. Put themselves in artist shoes and find out, do a little cost analysis of the break-even point of an artist driving, let's say, 600 miles, how much it would cost, what's their break-even point to do the show. You add a booth fee and app fee and
well,
gas,
no matter how,
food,
wait, Barry, no
hotel.
matter how much you're driving, you still have to pay for lodging, food, all of that.
Yeah.
But then it comes down to, well, how much time out, like for you to go to Park City.
Not even counting that, just the expense of it. Okay, so let's say it's
Barry,
that would be different because it's so far. But let's say it
Court's
costs you
trying to
$2,000 to do a show.
Court's trying to get a word in.
There's so many variables involved.
Yeah.
It's meaningless. And why would a show do that? Because it's you and I can travel the same distance to a show, and I guarantee you we can travel the same distance, do the same show, and I guarantee you that our expenses are going to be at least 10, if not 20% different.
But that's nothing.
Court,
100% difference would be big.
Court, you weren't with the NAIA way back when, but we did a survey. We only because I was in on it, of different artists from different mediums, and just one show. Your sales versus, your expenses and so on. And it was presented to show directors. I mean, everybody picked their own show that they wanted to use. But then that information was passed along to the show directors. I think they were at that time just blown away at how expensive it was for us to do a show,
I know.
Yeah. It's just really, it may not have any basis of, I don't know, it may not be good in, but it was.
You know,
I mean, I
think of the
understand
words.
shows having that information, and I understand doing that, Bonnie. That's a great idea. But for a show to calculate that stuff and give it to an artist, I don't see any
No.
reason in it.
Right.
I would agree.
Well, I do it for myself.
Right.
Wait,
We should all
that's
do it for
right.
ourselves.
Mhm.
But like I said, your cost and my costs are going to be pretty different.
Yeah.
Because for
Because
one,
even
if I'm doing a bigger show, I'm taking my wife with me. So right there, I have two people I have to feed, house, and take care of.
Yeah.
I find that it's actually overall it's cheaper to drive because I bring a lot of my food with me and stay in a place where I can cook. So I save a ton of money that way.
Mhm.
And looking at my expenses, St. Louis, the hotel was not bad, the booth fee is not bad, but I flew, and so I spent a lot of money on food. I mean, you got to eat.
Even when I've stayed places where I have a kitchen, by the time I get back, I don't want to cook. I don't want to deal with it.
That's
I
how
know.
I feel.
Listen, one of the problems is with some of these shows, it used to be, if you've done them for a long time, a hotel room that used to be $50 to do, very reasonable. Now it's $300 and $400.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, to spend $300 or $400 a night and
A
do a
night.
show just doesn't even.
well, the show in Fort Myers, if you book the hotel on Friday, the day was recommended. It went to Priceline. It was $844.
Oh, geez.
And
Yeah.
also, there's times you don't have a choice.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And that's what I sleep in my van, because that's the only way I can afford to do some of the shows. So
Yeah,
Or
me
now
too.
drive home to your trailer.
yeah.
I
And the
mean,
other
I don't
thing
know
is,
who's are artists really paying $300 and $400 a night for a hotel for a show?
Yes.
Some are.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So
I don't understand. I mean, that's wow.
That's why we bowed out of the big shows.
In
Yeah.
Coconut Grove, there's always that back parking lot that's full of people that are staying there.
Yeah.
It's a little club.
I'm not a van sleeper.
I
No,
don't
me
recommend
neither.
that to anybody.
I need my shower.
Yeah.
No, I understand to do that. The only show, my rules are basically, if I cannot get to the gym from the show, I will stay in the hotel, because I need to shower every day. I don't care. And it doesn't. The thing is like I down here in Florida, before you are taxes and fees, any cheap motel is going to cost you at least $100 a night. And if you get really close to what the show is going to be, it's going to be $300 to $400. It's not even anything else. And the thing that you have to think when you get into the hotel that is overlooked a lot of time, it's like how long it will take you to drive back to the show, what time you're going to have to leave, are you going to be able to drive after the show, and the way back in, are you going to find a place to eat? Like Ann Arbor from last year, my biggest pet peeve is that the show ends at 9 o'clock and other kitchens are closed at 9 o'clock or 9:30. You don't have time to eat. So then you're going to end going to Buffalo Wild Wings because it's the only place that's open until midnight. And Buffalo Wild Wings is not even nearby to downtown Ann Arbor. So it's by the highway outside the area. So you have to drive to there and then go back. So uh, there's some things that you have to-
hard-boiled eggs, a block of cheese, some crackers, and a rosé. Sounds much
Yeah.
better to me.
Yeah, but sometimes you cannot, you know, I can do that in my band, but I'm thinking in general, most of the artists don't have a Coolatron or an RB refrigerator inside the band.
I know artists that have all kinds of like the type of equipment that truckers might use to cook on the road.
I know I
And
do have that, but the question is, if you do that and you don't have the equipment to clean it after you cook, it's a big mess. And I don't want to, me personally, I don't want to deal with that.
right.
And even if you rinse it, it's still a mess. You inviting bugs inside your band and everything else.
In Ann Arbor, you can still get a nice hotel room for that. It's relatively inexpensive, and if you share a room with somebody, it can be under $100 a night per person. You know,
I
down Main Street towards our State Street, towards I-94, or on the other side of I-94, you can still get a nice hotel room. But
Yeah.
that's one of the
Extended
few
stay.
that you can do that.
Yeah, I
But,
was
you know-
surprised trying to get a hotel room in St. Joe, Michigan. You
Oh,
know,
that's
Oh.
something. Oh, listen,
That's
Is that
impossible
in
here.
I stayed in the
Is-
ghetto in Benton Harbor.
is that a place where there's just not much lodging available in the first place because it's a
no,
small
it is.
town?
It's like Florida.
There's
It is a resort area.
Well,
And
you
so
got
you
There's
go
you
there
have
in the
St.
summer.
Joe. You have St. Joe, which is high end, and then you cross the bridge into Benton Harbor, and it's a totally different situation.
I went in the grocery store in Benton Harbor. It was like something out of a futuristic sci-fi movie.
Yeah, that's another
Yeah.
thing that you have to. That's the
Why
other thing
was
that you have
that?
to think about it. I was just talking to one of the security guys in Fort Myers. They just came from Chicago, and he was saying like the difference between one city and another one, and he was telling me, he used to work in the projects, and it's just like I didn't even want to even. I was like, I just feel sorry for him because I know how it is, but you don't want to go to a place that you can afford, save a couple of bucks more, and then feel unsafe. That's not a good thing either.
As a jeweler, my first
Yeah.
most important thing was my feeling of safety and security.
Mm-hmm.
So consequently, I quite often had to get more expensive hotel rooms
Because
unless
that,
I was staying with someone else.
Well-
because that makes a big difference.
Well, last summer when Eric had started school, I actually stayed in Airbnbs with other friends, and so and it they happened to be safe places anyway. Well, one was Portland, but it was also so much cheaper. Like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath was substantially cheaper than say if I had a 1-bedroom on my own, and everyone also behaved well, so it turned out to be really nice, and so that was a good. But some of these resort places, actually, like Park City, they have a ton of condos, so you could get an efficiency apartment for $65 a night,
Yeah,
a mile from the show.
that's nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I stayed at a crappy Best Western that was $175 a night, something I would have paid half that for anywhere else.
Yeah. Well, can I just interject with a question here because I may have missed it because I came on time versus early. Katie,
Yeah,
so are you okay where you are?
where I am, yeah. We live on a hill. So
Thank
the water
goodness.
comes down the street, but doesn't, stop at the house or anything.
That's the $10 billion storm.
It's a 1,000-year storm. It's the second one in 3 years or something.
Yeah.
It's heavier
Right.
than
So
one. It's
there was
heading
a report. There was
south
like
now.
it was going to cost $10 billion to repair everything.
Oh, it's gonna take more than that.
Right now.
And then up in like Silicon Valley, a lot of people, I don't know if they have electricity yet, but they lost electricity, like 400,000 homes.
I don't think we've had any power outages this time.
That's
Not
good.
here, at least.
Jeez. Well, I just wanted to make sure. Thank you for doing the safety check thing.
Well, we've had a month's worth of rain in the last 2 days. And LA's had about a year's worth of rain in the last couple of days.
So
Wow.
that means there's no more drought, Katie.
No, it doesn't, because all that water's running off because it can't absorb. It's coming so fast.
Exactly.
Hopefully some of it somewhere where it drains into the reservoirs.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
hoping.
think those are full. They had to release water last time because it got too full for the infrastructure there, and they were afraid the dam was going to burst. I forget where it was, but it was a dam that they sort of put off working on because they were working on other stuff. It filled Lake Mead and so on.
So,
Salt Sea has water for the first time in about 50 years, I think.
does anyone know if there are shows that still have home hosting programs?
Actually,
Grasso
Crassel
has it.
does.
Grasso does.
So I wonder if they went by the wayside mostly, because there used to be more. But maybe since COVID, or I mean, I don't know.
Economo Walk does. I used that last year.
Shaw, I think Shaw used to. I don't know if they still do.
You know, it's kind of tough though to stay in
Mhm.
somebody's house because I just want to be alone. After talking to, thousands of people, I don't want to deal with somebody in their house.
But for
That's
some
weird.
people, it's more of a hardship. But of course, then there's the liability issues, right? And like, what if the artist is a real pain in the ass and it makes the show look bad? Or there are a lot of problems, I suppose, that could happen. But I don't know. I was just curious about it because there really are, some people who just simply can't afford to, they might not have a camper or whatever, and so I could see that being a problem.
It's a nice option.
Maybe they need to have capsule hotel mobile units or something.
I think in Japan,
Yeah,
they have this.
That's yeah. I just was picturing that. It made me laugh, made me smile.
Well, if all you need is a place to sleep and take a shower,
Yeah.
because you're not going to have the time to enjoy amenities that the hotel is pushing, like their gym and their pool and their massage.
Right.
That's a really great idea.
Yep.
I wonder
The technology already exists. It was amazing because I did a lot of coverage of the tornado recovery after the tornado took out the town of Greensburg, Kansas.
Mhm.
And what they have set up for emergencies and for volunteers and things like that is unbelievable. All the stuff's containerized. They can roll in with a containerized kitchen and be up and running, in literally a few hours. They have containerized showers.
That's a great idea.
They
I
have
can see that at Coconut Grove.
the there's a in Winfield, Kansas, about half an hour from me. They have one of the largest bluegrass festivals in the country, and it's a week long, and people camp out starting about a month before. And they bring in for the festival week, they bring in a similar setup, and they charge for showers.
I'd
So
pay.
The
That
other
works for
thing
me.
is, if it's a college town or close to it, see if there's dorms empty, like during summer or other vacation times.
They do that at Ann Arbor. We stayed in dorm rooms in the earlier years.
Was it fun or was it awful?
Oh, it was fun.
Oh.
except for the one year that we got this little teeny tiny room, and there wasn't even room to put a suitcase on the floor. I mean, not open, but just to put a couple suitcases there.
Mhm.
It was funny.
So,
Oh, it was
Corey,
so much fun.
are we doing Order Tuesday tonight?
yep.
Okay. I will see you guys later tonight. I need to go to eat dinner.
Are we leaving
Bye,
now,
Oscar.
Oscar?
Yeah, because
Good
somebody
idea.
wants to stop in Walmart. I'm not going to say names.
What
What?
was
We don't
that?
have to go to Walmart.
Barry, are you staying with Oscar?
Unfortunately,
sorta.
buddy. Unfortunately.
Are you on the couch?
I'm
No, he's
van
in the
camping.
room outside. He's
Oh,
not
good.
allowed to stay inside.
Well,
Be
fun and
good.
games. See you tonight, Oscar.
Well, actually, that was fun. I think this is a good one, a good talk today.
Me too.
So, I'll see you guys.
Right?
Okay,
All right,
I'm
bye,
leaving too. Bye.
bye. Well, that shrunk a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else is going on?
Uh,
I'm just working on getting the hopefully gonna get the
Emerging
images
artists?
from last week up by the end of the week.
And how's the emerging artist program coming along?
It's moving forward.
And you said you might be going to Washington State for
Yep.
some, is that what show? Oh, that was the Anacortes, maybe it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting.
So we'll see. I've got to send some emails and try and find some other shows earlier.
In the
Then that
vicinity,
leads
you mean?
down some other shows earlier in the year. That leads us down a whole path of, if this takes off, then that leads us down a whole path of more work.
Right.
Because then we'll start looking for grants and things like that on a national level, which is
Mm-hmm.
pretty involved.
Yep, writing grants, not an easy thing.
No, and I've got to write a letter to the city of Chicago tomorrow.
Oh. I wrote one with footnotes.
Yeah, I just got asked today, so
Mm-hmm.
I think there's several board members now.
Mm-hmm.
What baby girl?
So at least I'll have two other board members I can copy off of.
Uh-huh. I actually wrote an article about her in a magazine, and so I had a different sort of background. Well, plus, I do this. I'm an art jeweler as well, so it's just a different point of view, and hopefully our arguments will be convincing.
It's it's so specific on one hand and so vague on the other.
Well, I can tell you, as somebody who makes the type of jewelry I do, it's been a battle forever, because if you say you make jewelry, people think it's your hockables, right? Your emeralds, your diamonds, your rubies, in a traditional sort of style of jewelry. There's nothing wrong with that. But art jewelry is not about the materials. It's about the same thing a painter or a photographer might think of. It's the concept. And it's very difficult to convey that. So people, a lot of people still don't understand there's a thing called art jewelry, although it's been around for over 100 years. You know, people using alternative materials. And
it's been around since jewelry started. You go back in history. I mean, look at, I watch Antiques Roadshow, and you know, you look at pieces that are 100, 200, 300 years old that they have on there, and they talk about, you know, oh yeah, they were all one of a kind, handmade pieces.
Right, but the thing is, like, starting in the 1950s, post World War II, there were a lot of artists who went to college on the GI Bill, and they studied art, and so they relate more to the Bauhaus than to jewelry just as ornamentation. And I don't mean just in any derogatory term, but like, jewelry has always had in different cultures traditional meanings. Like in India, when you get married, you have a certain amount of gold bracelets. And I don't know all the details of that, but a lot of different cultures have ritualistic jewelry. And then jewelry was also used for trade, like trade beads, that kind of thing. So it was meant for ornamentation, but you know, I would say more specifically from the 50s on, people created jewelry with their own vision, like making a painting or something, or playing with a concept. I mean, there's a very successful jeweler who originally started out using diamonds that were natural cube shape, but they were considered junk. And he was making an argument, you know, what is it that we value, right? And now those diamonds, which were considered junk, they're not affordable. They're very expensive now. And his business has moved on, and he uses all kinds of diamonds, like slices and things like that a gemologist wouldn't be able to grade, because they're very funky, and you're not looking for the same factors that a gemologist would grade them at. So anyway, sorry, I don't mean to go on, but it's one of the things I do like about living here in Santa Fe is, if you say you're a jeweler, people understand. It's not like anywhere else. I often get, oh, do you do repairs? And repairs are a real specialty. Anyone who has jewelry to repair, you want to go to an expert, because that person has taken apart a million different things and knows how to repair it. Anyway, it's always a battle. And then there's the whole other argument: is it art? Is it craft? That's another one that I'm sure ceramic artists probably have to deal with.
Craft applies to half the categories, at least, in almost any art festival.
Yes, but I do think that craft could be art as well. Like, I don't think they're exclusive of each other. Anyway, the organizations around that promote art jewelry, you know, my biggest complaint is they're often very insular, because I always I feel like, my job at an art show, aside from, selling my work, is to also educate people. And, if I hear someone whisper to their friend, is that a necklace? I can't imagine wearing it. I embrace those people and I'll talk to them. I'll take something out. They want to try it on so they could feel it, that it's actually really wearable and comfortable. And I feel like, part of our jobs at art fairs is to spread the gospel. If somebody is not going to buy something from me, at least I could educate somebody and maybe they'll buy from the next person. But it's always with jewelry, it's just people don't see it as art just because it's jewelry, but really it's small sculpture that you wear.
As one of the mediums that I would, there's some mediums where I can understand this whole discussion that's going on about her. Jewelry was not one that would have ever entered my mind.
Why not?
Well, because I consider it art. There was no, I can see ceramics. I can see, because you have functional versus non-functional. I can kind of see that and the cross between art and craft. I can see that in a lot of other mediums, but I don't see that crossover in jewelry. I don't see it as craft at all. I see it as art. Just like I see it in the same category I see painting.
Right. But a lot of people don't. I mean, there's craft in, like, I think that craft and art, as I say, are not exclusive of one another. I mean, any of the, like, jewelry, ceramics, glass, textiles, there are these skills that, one has to have as a base before they're creating their pieces. But
that in every medium.
Right. But a lot of people do not see jewelry as art. They see it as the things that have been marketed to them out there in the world,
Well, it's like going to Walmart and seeing paintings.
Or going to Hobby Lobby and buying a framed photograph.
Right.
Yeah. And or even I've seen, ceramics. I mean, I haven't been to a store there are ceramics from China and glass that it's getting better looking, but it doesn't have the soul of the artist.
Well, I think they always had that stuff. It just didn't get over to here.
That's the difference between a qualified customer.
I saw an expo, 1980. There was a Chinese expo in San Francisco, and there was some marvelous stuff there that, belonged in the art museum. Jewelry included, and you don't see that stuff stamped made in China in Walmart. And I know for like beads, like the pearls that they sent over here, the freshwater pearls, they wouldn't buy them there. They used them there for cosmetics.
Oh,
Europe
interesting.
The US got what was left. So
I think Walmart is like the largest seller of diamonds in the US.
Target doesn't carry jewelry anymore.
Oh, it doesn't?
Oh.
I mean, they carry a very tiny amount, but they don't carry any amount of jewelry like Walmart does.
Wait, who doesn't?
Target.
Oh, Target. Okay. I don't know that I ever knew they
cases now too. They've got underwear in cases and socks. That's one of the assistants there opened the case for you if you want to pick it.
Wow, because of theft.
Yep.
Huh.
I don't know that it's all stores, but that's I think Bay Area was where it started doing that. Everything's,
Right.
you know, glass, essentially.
Mhm. Huh.
Well, I've read some articles about, they call it shrinkage is the industry term.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And as independent companies have gone in and started looking and actually looking at what's happening, is they're finding that a lot more stuff's going out the back door than they ever thought, and not nearly
Ooh.
as much stuff is going out the front door.
Meaning employees.
Yes.
Wow.
So yeah, the stuff going out the back door from employees is, they've always known that was an issue, but it's a lot bigger issue. It's a lot higher percentage than what they want to let on.
Got it. Huh.
But I will tell you, at the Target store I worked at, they were throwing away the the property manager was throwing away a set of casters. And I had to get like 3 different people's permission to take them out of the trash and take them home.
Mhm.
We were not allowed to take anything out of the trash and take it home.
Wow. When I worked in restaurants, you were allowed to, if there was a chipped glass, you would ask permission, but then you could take chipped glasses if you wanted. Like, you know, if it was I don't mean the part that you drink out of.
But the things like, he put out a really nice pressure washer because Target didn't want to pay to repair a wheel on it. And he said, I'm putting this out back by the dumpster tonight. He said, if you want it, drive around and get it, because I'm putting it out back by the dumpster.
It almost breeds illicit behavior rather than just getting permission to take something that's being thrown out. You
Yeah.
know?
All of the there were certain display items that they made sure that they were witnessed when they went into the dumpster. Like paperbacks, any paperbacks we threw away, books had to have the front covers ripped off of them.
That's
before
very
they went in the
common.
trash. Yeah. They were
That
really,
doesn't
really,
stop people from reading them.
yeah, really,
Right.
really particular about a lot of the display models of baby furniture, car seats, and like strollers, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Because some of those displays were not built, they were built strictly as displays and didn't have all the internal components. And even if they were the exact same, they all had to go in the compactor and get crunched,
Right.
because the companies didn't want to have any liability at all with them.
Yeah.
So I've got to run. I've got to get ready for tonight. We'll see everyone next week, probably.
Good to see you.
Which meeting is tonight?
Other Tuesday. The NAIA Zoom is next Tuesday.
Okay.
We only have 2 more of those. Well, only 2 more of these NAIA Zooms. We're probably going to start. I haven't discussed it with my cohorts yet, but we're talking about starting a something new that'll be monthly. So we'll see. All right, may see some of you tonight. Bye.
All right. Bye. All right.
So you seem to have gotten a lot of since your last mock jury. So hopefully those people will sign up for the next one.
I have about 15 on the list so far,
Yeah.
and I only promoted it once or twice.
Mhm.
So I'm sure what's happening is a lot of artists are watching the mock juries and saying, okay, I learned what I need to know. You know,
Yeah, well, that's too bad because I mean I feel like there's always something to learn,
I know.
always.
Did you see
I was
somebody, did you see the jeweler today that said they were setting up their booth for a picture? And they wondered if they needed to put their
oh
jewelry
yes,
in the booth.
yes, yes. I commented on that. Yeah.
Right, that's right. you did.
Well, on Zapplication you could now zoom in, so you could actually
They've, well,
see what's.
they've linked them to the 1920s.
Uh-huh.
That's what that is. And I asked them to do that 15 years ago.
Mhm. I mean, I kind of wish as a jeweler, maybe whether they could do a full shot and then a close up or just a close up, because I think it's important to see what's in those cases. But the fact that you could zoom in is helpful.
That's only for
'Cause it's-
monitor jurying.
If I look
For
on my
projection,
computer, I can zoom in and see. But
Right.
you're okay.
but that's only for monitor jurying.
Okay,
For
so projection.
jurying, you're at the whim of the show director, and they can zoom in,
Mhm,
but it requires stopping the whole process.
got it. Well, I think there needs to be a close-up shot then of, inside the jeweler's cases. Or even if it's an inset, if you have a full booth and an inset shot, so it's just one image, something,
Yeah, I
because
know.
I mean, because the truth is there are people who show like these fabulous showpieces and then they're selling
Garbage.
kind of, well, I don't know, but I don't want to make that judgment, but
Well, we're not
simpler
naming
pieces.
names.
Right. I'm
But-
not even talking about anyone in particular anyway.
No, I know exactly what
Yeah.
you mean. And this is where the booth needs to represent your booth picture needs to represent what you're going to have at the show.
Right. So it seems like if you're going to have a print bin, then you need it in the shot.
Of course, what St. Louis did was like ridiculous.
Right.
Should we leave it at that?
Let's see. So I'm also surprised there are people who maybe are new to shows, but they've been selling their work for 15, 10, 20 years that have no idea what jury images are supposed to be like.
Well, but it's always been that way.
Okay. Yeah. So, there's someone I know, and I'm very glad I sent her to you, because I think the work is really good, and people don't know why they're getting in, and there some people just don't have good photographs, and it's as simple as that. So.
So should we call it a day?
Well, the birds are beautiful.
Yeah, and they've all been taken within the last 30 days.
Uh-huh.
I figured out how to do it.
I think so. And is that with your new lens?
The new camera and the lens.
Okay. Because there was that lens that you aspired to get for years that you have now.
Oh, I don't know. There have been a couple of those, but it's the Z8 and the 400 millimeter. It's a Z lens.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, I mean, it's a great combination.
Mhm.
400 millimeter lens used to cost $15,000, $13,000.
Oh, wow.
But this 400 is like 3,000
Mhm.
because it's stop and a half slower.
Oh, interesting. Hmm.
The only,
Well,
the only difference is the out of focus background.
mhm.
If you're,
So
shoo-
what do you think, what do you think will happen with the mirrorless cameras, and then these lenses won't work on those?
well, they do work on them.
Oh, they do? Okay.
Yeah, there's an adapter for $250 that you can take all your Nikon autofocus lenses and use it on a Z body.
Are autofocus lenses also manual?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. Well, Eric did end up getting the lights, the what Einchrom?
yeah,
I-
I know.
Um,
Einstein. Now,
no. Einchrom. Yeah, like Einchrom, Einchrom, I think it's called. And so, but they're two 500 instead of 1,000. And so the nice thing is he could light more of the stones are lit because there's two.
yeah, but you can also
Um,
use one. You don't have to use two.
right, but he's finding with my work that the stones can be lit more, especially when things curve and all that.
Yeah,
So, but still very new. But he's really
which
um,
camera did he get?
the Nikon,
D850.
yeah, and it was on sale, and
2500.
so hmm? Yeah,
2500.
yeah.
It is on sale. It came out at 3,000. And
Right.
and every once in a while it drops to 2,500.
Exactly. Right. But so, anyway, he's happy with that. He's taking just some, photographs from my website and playing around and figuring it out, and also wanting to get back into portrait photography, which he enjoys. So but it's a matter of time. So anyway, the equipment he had was 30 years old. I mean, the camera, he has the other camera is about 15 years old, and he's just going to keep it as a backup. But of course, the new one has, more. So anyway,
Tell him to use both card slots and use it as a backup.
both card slots,
Yeah, it takes two different cards
right?
and have it set for backup.
So are you saying you could put two cards in the camera?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, and you have it set for a backup, not overflow,
Oh, okay.
so that if something happens, you always have the pictures in the camera on the other card.
Set for backup, not overflow.
Right. Especially if you're shooting indoors like he's doing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Then the Novatron, those power packs, we took them to electronic waste. But he actually has some Novatron strobes that he's looking to give away. I don't know if anyone wants them, but
Well, nobody went for my Dynalite kit.
okay. There's a camera shop here in town, like very old school. He has old equipment, so maybe he'll want them. I don't know, but better to find someone rather than throw it out.
Find a school.
Yeah. Yeah, the community college, maybe. It's a good idea.
Yeah, and take it as a tax deduction.
Well, who knows? But it would be nice to find someone who would be able to use it in any case.
Yeah.
But the Novatrons were just dead.
Yeah, I mean, there's a camera club I belong to that has a series of workshops, but
Mhm.
They're not, they're only using on-camera flashes
Oh, okay.
or off-camera, but that type
Right.
of flash, they're not using
Sure.
studio lighting at all
Right, right.
for their strobe workshop.
Uh-huh.
And
Got it.
I'm tempted to, go in there with a set and set it up and teach people actually how to use real strobes.
Yeah. Maybe they would really like that, actually.
They probably would.
Hmm.
Well,
I mean, you have,
go ahead.
oh, you have, well, they could see how much more the lighting can affect the image.
Well, it's not that. It's learning how to expose for the strobes.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
When you're using the type of strobe, the type of flash that goes on top of the camera does a little calculating.
Right. Okay. I understand.
But when you're using studio strobes, you have
Mhm.
to do the calculating.
Right. 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 That's right. Eric said because his other one was a single 1,000-watt strobe. So these are two 500-watt, and so he makes adjustments for that.
Right.
Yeah. That's right. Forgot about that. So, yeah. Well, anyway.
All right.
Shall we call it a day?
Yeah, I gotta go feed Elvis. He's
Ah.
anxious over here.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.